How hard is it for everyone everywhere to come together and pray? Stop, take a minute, pray, rejoice. Don't forget, lifeisonedayataTime.com comes on every week with Minister Chestnut live and in living color. So be there every week because Jesus is our rock. Welcome to lifeisonedayataTime.com. I'm Minister Chestnut, and thank you for joining me again on another day of life and another day of love to live in His riches and glory. Praise God, but first, I'd like to wish you grace, mercy, and peace for 2022. Hey, we're going to get through it all with grace, mercy, and peace. As we continue in the book of Mark, last week we left off when Jesus was at Simon the leper in his house having dinner, and a lady came in and anointed his box with some precious oil, and the disciples were getting upset because they thought it could have been sold for money for the poor. But Jesus put them in their place, told them what was going on, that this woman was doing a good work on him for his burial. And that point still, I don't think, has sunk in to all the disciples of what was truly going to happen. We pick it up right after she did that. Verse 10 in chapter 14. And Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went into the chief priests to betray him into them. And when they heard it, they were glad and promised to give him money. And they sought how he might conveniently betray him. Verse 12. And the first day of the unleavened bread, when they killed the Passover, his disciples said unto him, Where will thou that we go and prepare that thou mayst eat the Passover? And he sent forth two of his disciples and said unto them, Go ye into the city, and there ye shall meet a young man bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him. And wherever he shall go in, say to the good man of the house, The master said, Where is the guest chamber, where I may shall eat the Passover with my disciples? And he will show you a large upper room, furnished and prepared. There make ready for us. And his disciples went forth, came into the city, and found as he had said unto them, and they made ready the Passover. Now, foreknowledge. Jesus, he had foreknowledge. Same way he told his disciples to go find a coat tied, and hey, they found him. Verse 17. And in the evening he cometh with the 12. And as they sat and did eat, Jesus said, Verily I say unto you, one of you eateth with me shall betray me. And they began to be sorrowful, and say unto him one by one, Is it I? And another said, Is it I? And he answered and said unto them, It is one of the 12 that dippeth with me in the dish. And the Son of Man indeed goeth as is written of him, but woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. Good it were for that man that he had never been born. Now, we're talking about Judas Iscariot right now. Verse 22. And as they did eat, Jesus took bread and blessed and brake it, and gave to them and said, Take, eat, this is my body. And he took the cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, and they drank all of it. And he said unto them, This is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many. Verily I say unto you, I will drink no more of the fruit of the vine until that day I drink it new in the kingdom of God. And when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Okay, this is This is the night that he was betrayed, just before the Passover, and they're trying to wrap things up, the chief priests and the scribes. Verse 27. And Jesus said unto them, all you shall be offended because of me this night, for it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered. Now, when when it says be offended, he means they will stumble. When he said, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered, that is written and quoted from Zechariah chapter 13, verse 7. Verse 28. But after that I am risen, I will go before you into Galilee. Now he's telling you he's going to rise again, but I think it went over their head again. Verse 29. But Peter said unto him, although all shall be offended, yet I, not I. And Jesus said unto him, verily I say unto thee, that this day, even in this night, before the cock crow twice, thou shalt deny me thrice, 3 times. But he spoke the more vehemently, if I should die with thee, I will not deny thee in any wise. Likewise also said they all. All the disciples, they said the same thing. But what's going to happen? Verse 32. And they came into a place which was named Gethsemane. And he said to his disciples, sit ye here while I shall go pray. And he had taken with him Peter, James, and John. And they began to be sore amazed and to be very, very heavy. I mean, this is a serious situation. He was about to give his life for many. And he said unto them, my soul is exceedingly sorrowful unto death. Tarry ye here and watch. And he went forward a little and fell on the ground and prayed that if it were possible, that the hour might pass from him. Now he knew what he had to do, but he was just checking to see if there was another way to do it. Verse 36. And he said, Abba, Father, all things are possible unto thee. Take away this cup from me. Nevertheless, not what I will, but what thou wilt. And he cometh and find them sleeping, and said to Peter, Simon, sleepest thou? Couldst not thou watch 1 hour? Now, this is a good example that when you pray, if you can, 1 hour is all Jesus asks. 1 hour to watch and pray. Verse 38, watch ye and pray, lest you enter into temptation. The spirit is truly ready, but the flesh is weak. And again he went away and prayed and spake the same words. And when he returned, he found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy, neither wist that what to answer him. They didn't know what to say. You know, the flesh was weak, but the spirit is willing. It's just life. Verse 41. And he cometh the third time and said unto them, sleep on now, and take your rest. It is enough, the hour is come. Behold, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise up, let us go. And lo, he that betrayed me is at hand. And immediately, while he spake, cometh Judas, one of the 12, and with him a great multitude with swords and staves, from the chief priests and from the scribes and of the elders. Now here this mob shows up in the middle of the night. They didn't want the people to see what was going on. And he that betrayed him had given them a token, saying, Whomsoever I shall kiss, the same is he. Take him, and lead him away safely. And as soon as he is come, he goeth straightway to him, and said, Master, Master, and kissed him. And they laid their hands on him, and took him. And one of them that stood by drew a sword, and smote the servant of the high priest, and cut off his ear. Now that was Peter. He was a good swordsman. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Are ye come out as against a thief with swords and with staves to take me? I was daily with you in the temple teaching, and you took me not. But the scriptures must be fulfilled. And they all forsook him and fled. All his disciples, which said they wasn't going to leave him, they left. He said they will be scattered because of him. And there followed him a certain young man, having a linen cloth cast about his naked body. And the young man laid hold on him. And he left the linen cloth and fled from them naked. I mean, there was another bystander. I don't know if it was one of the 12, but he ran out of his clothes. Verse 53. And they led Jesus away to the high priest, and with him were assembled all the chief priests, the elders, and the scribes. And Peter followed him afar off, even unto the palace of the high priest. And he sat with the servants and warmed himself at the fire. Now, this is at night, in the middle of the night. Now, they took Jesus. And the chief priests and all the council sought for witnesses against Jesus to put him to death, and found none. For many had false witnesses against him, but their witnesses agreed not together. And there arose certain and bare false witnesses against him, saying, We heard him say, I will destroy this temple that is made with his hands, and within 3 days I will build another made without hands. But neither so did their witnesses agree together. They was trying to come up with all kind of stuff, but ain't nobody telling the truth. Verse 60. And the high priest stood up in the midst and asked Jesus, saying, Answer thou nothing? What is it which these witnesses against thee? Held his peace and answered nothing. Again the high priest asked him and said unto him, Art thou the Christ, the Son of the Blessed? And Jesus said, I am. And ye shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power, and coming in the clouds of heaven. And the high priest rent his clothes and said, What need we any further witnesses? We have heard the blasphemy. What think ye? And they all condemned him to be guilty of death. And some began to spit on him, and to cover his face, and to buffet him, and to say unto him, Prophesy. And the servants did strike him with the palms of their hands. And see, they try to beat him up, you know. And as Peter was beneath the palace, there cometh one of the maids of the high priest. And when she saw Peter warming himself, she looked upon him and said, And thou also was with Jesus of Nazareth. But he denied, saying, I know not, neither do I understand what thou sayest. Hey, what did he say he was going to do? He denied him. And when he went out into the porch, the cock crew. And the maid saw him again and began to say unto them that stood by, This is one of them. And he denied it again. And a little after that, they stood by and said again to Peter, Surely thou art one of them, for thou art a Galilean, and thy speech agreeth thereto. But he began to curse and to swear, saying, I know not this man of whom ye speak. And the same time the cock crew. And Peter came to mind the word that Jesus said unto him, Before the cock crow twice, thou shalt deny me 3 times. And when he thought of thereon, he wept. He said he wasn't going to do it, but he did it. And I know that's happened to many of us too. We said we was going to do something, and then we didn't do it. But he repented and became one of the soldiers of the spreading of the gospels after Jesus went back to heaven. But we're going to put a pin in it right there and pick it up next week on another exciting episode of Life is One Day at a Time.com. How hard is it for everyone everywhere to come together and pray? Stop, take a minute, pray, rejoice. Don't forget, Life is One Day at a Time.com comes on every week with Minister Chestnut live and in living color. So be there every week, because Jesus is our rock.